Welcome to the Consistency Corner podcast and our first episode in this new series of If I Was Your CMO. So once a month, I will be sharing CMO level strategy tips with you and things that I think you need to be thinking about as a CEO and what I'm telling my clients whom I serve as a CMO for them. So let's start first with what is a CMO? CMO is a chief marketing officer, could also be called a marketing director, a director of marketing, but it is the person who is leading marketing strategy and leading the people who are implementing the marketing in your organization. Now, as a business owner, as a CEO, I want to talk about something before we get into kind of the meat of this week's episode. But that is the difference between an entrepreneur and a CEO. And when is it time to make that switch? As an entrepreneur, you often have to be scrappy. You are often wearing all the hats. You are doing all the things because you got to just figure out how to get this thing up and going and sustainable before we can bring in support and help. But there comes a time where you cannot do it all. I know. I wish you could. I wish I could. But the saying is true. You can do anything, but you cannot do everything. And at some point in your business, it is time to decide what you're going to delegate, outsource, take off your plate so that you can more intensely focus on the right things, the things that only you can do. If you are into business books, business development, personal development, professional development, this is covered in many books, like several that I have even read in the last 6 months. 10X is better than 2X. Clockwork, tons and tons of books talk about this. And if you're a woman listening to this, which most of my audience is, you're probably a high achieving woman and you are used to handling it. You're going to handle the things and you're going to get it all done because you know you can trust you and you're not sure who else you can trust. But what we have to think about as a CEO is your time and your capacity is limited. So in order for you to spend your best energy and your most focused time either serving your clients or scaling and leading your team who might also be serving clients, you have to take some things off of your plate. You have to take some tasks off of your to-do list and you have to take some hats off. And marketing is one of the critical components of business growth. If you follow Donald Miller at all, he talks about a business as like an airplane, and your marketing and your sales are the left and right engines of the organization. So you have to have marketing, you have to have sales, or like the plane doesn't go, the business doesn't go, right? So we can't just stop doing marketing. And here's the thing, I actually have a lot of business owners that I talk to who they've built their business by doing the sales and marketing themselves. They get to a point that they're really busy and they let sales and marketing kind of fall to the wayside because they're like, oh, I'm busy, I don't have to do marketing anymore. Or, oh, I'm busy, I don't have time to do marketing anymore. But then the cycle catches up and their pipeline of leads starts to dry up. Their sales start to slow down because they have not consistently had a marketing strategy in place that could be executed by either themselves with their limited capacity or by team members or an external outsourced partner. And so that's what we want to think about. How do we keep the engine of your sales and marketing running even when you are busy? Because you want it to continue to run so that you can continue to stay busy and scale and grow your business. So when I'm thinking about the seat that you might be sitting in as a CEO who has built your business based upon your own marketing expertise, you might be really great at messaging. You might be really great at sales. Or maybe you had a warm market that you were able to tap into and market to and grow and get to a certain point. Or maybe in the beginning, you had a really unique value proposition in the market. You did something that other people weren't doing. And now the market has shifted and things have changed and there's some more competition, or maybe our warm leads are starting to dry up. And, we've kind of built our business based on referrals, but those referrals are starting to slow down because again, that warm market is drying up. And now we've got to start thinking about bringing new eyes onto our business and nurturing those relationships and having strategies in place to convert those leads into customers. And that is a lot to think about when you're already doing a lot of things, right? Serving your clients, serving your team, being the visionary that is growing your business, and even thinking about like what other offers could we do or how could we optimize our operations and those types of things. So we want to think about marketing in a way that while it's critical to run our business, you as the CEO doesn't have to be the one who is doing it. And again, I totally understand that it is hard to delegate. And I will tell you a story. I remember when I was a store manager. I was a store manager in retail for about 5 years, and I ran a low volume store, $2 million, and I did a lot of things myself. I also had a team that I led and had to get better at delegating and, passing things off. But then I moved from a $2 million store to a $40 million store. I was a visual merchandising manager of a $40 million store that had about 300 employees. And we were working on getting a floor set up, which is where you like turn over the merchandise and move things around and change the visual displays. And I had a leader in the organization that was kind of doing a visit with me while I was leading this floor setup. And I was steaming merchandise. And he was like, Ruthie, you cannot lead the setup of this floor set while you are in the weeds steaming this garment. Like, you are not being paid to steam this garment. You are being paid to be the orchestrator of all of these pieces and parts doing all the things. And that really hit me and has actually stuck with me for several years, in that I know you want to get in the weeds of doing the things because or you think that you can do it better, faster, more efficiently, more effectively, because that is what has gotten you to this point. But what got you here won't get you there. And so when it comes to marketing, same thing. What got you here won't get you there. And because you've built your business to a certain point, it's time to outsource and have a professional strategic partner helping you. I've seen a lot of business owners think, I'm going to hire a VA to support me with my marketing. And absolutely, they can. If you have a robust content library, you have SOPs for how you've done everything written down, you have a map that this VA can follow, absolutely, that is one way to outsource to get things off of your to-do list and off your plate and executed. But if you don't have that strategy in place and you don't have a well-documented process, it's going to be a lot harder for that VA to get up and running and do their job, because you're not paying them to create the strategy. You're not paying them for the visionary leadership. You're not paying them to see the forest through the trees. You're paying them to cut down trees. I mean, I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but you guys know I love a good analogy, so we're going to run with it. So thinking about your own relationship with delegating is really important as your business is growing and scaling, and before you bring in operational strategic partners. What is your relationship with delegating? What is your relationship with outsourcing? What is your relationship with trust? Are you the type of person who is a micromanager? Because that is not going to work a lot of times when you're wanting to bring in a strategic partner. Now, if you're a collaborator and you're open to new ideas and you like to ask questions and you like to understand and you like to brainstorm and go back and forth with people, that might be a great time to bring in a CMO or a strategic partner who can help lead the business growth in marketing, because they're going to be really dialed in on the marketing things and can kind of leverage that with the things that you are thinking about and doing in terms of, again, your offers, your positioning, the types of clients you're going after. And so having that strategic partner who is an expert in marketing, branding, content, messaging, positioning, to help you figure out the next right step in your marketing ecosystem can be really helpful, because it frees up your brain capacity to kind of work on doing those other things. The challenges of wearing multiple hats. I know so many women who this has happened to in their corporate career. And I'm guessing if you left a corporate career and started your own business, this happened to you too. you're really good at getting stuff done. So guess what happens? You get asked to get more stuff done. I saw it all the time in the corporate world that there are people who are just naturally doers and achievers and they're goal setters. And they often get asked over and over and over and over again to do more because they know that they can be trusted. And so then when you step into a leadership role, it's difficult to take on the capacity and the mental, I guess, kind of strain of being a leader because you're so used to being a doer. But it is time to really think about taking some hats off. What are those hats that you could take off that would free up your time, that would free up your capacity, that, you could just have a quick check-in with the person who's wearing the hat, but then you don't have to wear the hat all the time and you are going to feel lighter and you're going to feel more creative and you're actually going to be able to solve problems more effectively and efficiently because you're not being weighed down by all of those hats that you're wearing, right? And when we do delegate, especially when we delegate to somebody who has a specialization or a expertise that maybe we have some general knowledge, but they're like really staying up on trends in the industry. They're staying educated on what's coming down the pipeline and happening right now, what's working in the current market. Again, you're able to delegate to that person so that you have more discernment an opportunity to ask the questions, to think creatively, to be a problem solver. And when it comes to marketing, because there are so many specializations, ads, messaging, copywriting, graphic design, branding, social media, every single freaking platform that's out there and every single algorithm on the social media, email marketing, CRM segmentation, loyalty strategies for retaining your existing customers. I mean, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of things that you could focus on from a marketing perspective. And you might want to hire specialists that do all of those things or some of those things. But do you have the time to manage those specialists? Do you have the time to make sure that they are talking to each other so that we are working in concert and not in silos? That's something to think about of whether or not it's time to bring in one specialist, two specialists, or an agency with a CMO that can lead all the different specialists, help you figure out which one is right for you right now, and build out that map so that we know what to implement and when. And when you're delegating, one of the challenges could be lack of clarity in the communication. And I see that happen when marketing or business leaders are hiring multiple specialists. Those specialists might not be talking to each other. And I'm going to give you a tech example from my corporate days of people that were just not talking to each other. And it took me a year and a half to solve what ended up being a pretty simple problem. So we had a website that had product data. Okay. And then we had POS system that had product data. They talked to each other. The website talked to each other. The POS system talked to each other, but not great, to be honest. And then we had a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager, a tool that was basically our customer database, and an email marketing platform. And as the marketing director, we were trying to figure out how to send personalized email messages with product data. So, hey, you bought this. I want to send you some suggested products that I think you would like based upon what you purchased. How do we automate that? You guys, no joke, it took us a year and a half to figure this out because those 4 different systems, the CRM, the email marketing platform, the POS system, and the website platform, were all managed by different specialists who didn't talk to each other. And me, as the go-between who was trying to talk to all of them, I'd have a call with this one, I'd have a call with this one. And they were literally pointing fingers at each other. Like, POS person says, no, that's website person's problem and they need to fix this. Then website person fixes it. And then email platform person says, that fixed it, but not in the way we needed it to be fixed. So it's still not going to do what you need it to do. So after several calls over months and months and months with all these different partners, we finally got all four of them on the phone on a conference call together. Myself and the e-commerce manager at the time were able to articulate the problem in detail for every single one of them. And we were finally able to come up with a solution. So I share that story to tell you, and to, illustrate the point that as the CEO, you don't have time to have meetings with all of those specialists. You don't have time to coordinate the, projects that the ad specialist is working on, that the organic content specialist is working on, that the email marketing person is doing. You need someone who is orchestrating that symphony and pulling all of that together so that it is working efficiently and effectively, because we don't want to waste your time and we certainly don't want to waste your money, but we want to make sure that what we're doing is working towards the same goal. So when you think about taking action and you're like, okay, what got me here is not going to get me there. I cannot just keep doing more of the same thing. In order to grow my business, I've got to do something different. It might be outsourcing to a doer, but do you have SOPs in place? Do you have a marketing map for them to follow so that you're not going to have to hold their hand? Or maybe it's time and you were ready to outsource to a specialist or an agency and get a team and someone to lead that team for you so that we can do all the things together. And as we dive into this series, If I Was Your CMO, I'm going to be showing you and telling you exactly what I would be leading the team to do if I was your CMO. So on our next episode, we're actually going to be talking about mastering brand consistency in order to boost customer loyalty. Because when I sit down with a client and start with a new client, the very first thing we do is a brand and marketing audit. Because again, you're successful. You have gotten to a certain point with your brand. But how do we amplify that brand? How do we sharpen the message and the point of view so that we can elevate and get to that next level? So I am excited to have you on this podcast series with us. If you are interested in more tips, we are also going to be doing a monthly email with bonus tips that we did not fit into the episode because I want to keep these episodes short and actionable for you. So click the link in the show notes for the If I Was Your CMO email newsletter series. You can opt into that. You'll get one email a month with some bonus tips. And I will see you in our next episode.